Okay, welcome back to part 3. So if you made it so far, you'll notice that our API was working and ran perfectly, but we couldn't able to click the apply button there. So before we can move to Docker, we just want us to fix that problem now. So let's go to our API. Let's call up this. Then we look for our Azuna service. So let's find a particular statement. Click Ctrl F, and then type apply URL there. So we need to make a change there because it's returning a null value there. And then maybe let's go up there first, import the statement using system.text.json.serialization. Then let's find our statement. Okay, it must be sitting inside of this class. Oh, we also need to make some changes there. So let's just start there. Okay, let's start with this. So we need to locate, redirect this, and then let's see. We need to change it a bit. So I'm going to explain why we're doing it that. So I'm going to add an attribute here. It's called JSON property. In fact, we're going to do a couple of them now. Property name. I'll explain in a moment. We're going to say redirect underscore URL. So why are we doing this? This will tell C# that the JSON field from the Azuna API, it's called redirect underscore link. Without this, C# or our compiler will look for the redirect URL, which it may not find to apply for a job. So we need to also change as well the salary, because you notice that it didn't find the salary as well, and also the company name as well. So let's do the salary. And then in fact, let me just copy this so that we don't waste time. So I'm just gonna do that even for the minimum, and then we're gonna change these to salary underscore mean. Then we do the same things, and then we change this for salary max. And then let's look for the company, the display name as well. We'll close that. Okay. Then we're going to call this display underscore name. We do the same thing for the location. Then we will call this display underscore location. Okay, let's save this and then let's run our application. Okay, I'm just going to log in. I've already registered the profile. Okay, going to search for jobs. I'm just going to do the same thing. There we go. So at least we can get the salary there. And then not sure if it's working perfectly because it seems like it's able to pull for one, but not everything. Let me see. There we go. So now it's working. So it kind of seemed like there were no jobs there. You can see this is a real job. You can just apply. So I'm happy with that. You can play this, play with your application over and over to check if everything is fine with you. And then for now, we want to Dockerize our application. That's gonna be fun. And a disclaimer, Docker, I'm not strong, not even a bit. So I'm just going to give it a try. So if you see that I'm making a mistake there, I think maybe you can comment on the chat on how I can improve this, because I'm not strong in this Docker thing, to be honest. I just hope that the little knowledge that I know will be sufficient to be able to run this application inside of Docker. I won't even bother going through and re-explaining what is Docker and all of those things, because that is not my strong suit at all. But I think I can be able to show you guys how to run or spin this project inside of our application. Okay, so let's close all of this. Okay, then let's go back to our application. For you to ensure that Docker is working, you should have had like a proper structure of your application. So I'm just going to go to Open File Explorer. You need to be able to have this. And then secondly, you must have Docker installed in your machine. If you don't have it, please stop and download Docker. Let me move this thing there, and then I'll search Docker. I already have it in my machine. Just run it. We cannot do anything in this moment until Docker is running, so please wait a minute until it runs, and then we will be able to start. But while it's doing that, Docker, we're going to need a Docker file. Docker file will contain the instruction for building one application container. That is to allow all these projects that we have to run at the same time. And then we'll need a compose, or which they call it YAML file, which will contain instruction to run all the containers together. So that's what we will need in order to run this application of ours. So I'm just waiting for Docker to run. I'm gonna do it my Docker differently. Okay, let's check. You need to check. You need to hover your mouse to your Docker icon. The status must be saying Docker desktop running, and then now you know that you should be fine. So now let's try it. I'm not going to use commands. I will just use the user interface. So let's start with Job Portal API. We right click it, and then we're going to say add, and then we are going to look for container support. For some, it might be called Docker support. Just click it. Okay, and then when you get to this part, always go with Linux. Apparently, they say Linux because it's used by a lot of system, and also its size is smaller compared to the Windows one. Just gonna leave everything as it is, and then I'll just click OK. Okay, we're gonna come back to this a little bit later. I'm just trying to see if it's not exposing any personal information. Yeah, I think it's the compose.yml file. For that one, in fact, I think it will need a password. We will do that. I'll just use a dummy password there. Right-click MVC, add. We're going to do the same thing. Look for container support. We're going to leave it the same as well. Okay, for those who are using Visual Studio 2022, is the YAML file, it does not want to auto-generate. I don't know what's happening. Let me try right-click solution, and then let's say add. We're looking for a button that is called Container Orchestrator Support. So if you guys see it, then you can be able to do it. But since I don't have it, I'll have to do this manual. Unfortunate. So for me, it does not appear. So, and when you auto-generate this, you don't have to go and write the Docker file, change anything. It will be there. Everything's just covered for you. But because for me, I don't have the YAML file, I will need to write this myself. So I'm going to right-click solution, add, and then I'll say new item. Should be a text file. Let me see. We don't even have a YAML file, so I'll remove the dot text so that we don't have this. So we're going to call this docker-compose.yml. Then we'll click add. That's fine. I think that's fine. So the boring part is that you need to write this. I can't write this. So I need to go and find this code and paste it. I think you'll find a lot of templates online for the YAML file. For those that is auto-generating, that is fine for you. But let me just go and find it. I'll be back now. Okay, welcome back. This is long. You can even use AI, by the way, to generate your YAML file. As I said, that this is not my strong suit. I'm not even good with Docker, not even a bit. So the knowledge, I have little knowledge in this thing. So I thought it was going to generate the YAML file automatically, but it didn't. So you will have something like this, and then here you're going to have your password. You're going to create your own password. So this doesn't matter, doesn't go anywhere, it's just for my local Docker. So I'm not going to scroll down because there's a part inside of the YAML file where it wants you to enter your app ID for the API and the API key. So I'm not going to scroll down. I will save this and get out of it so that I don't have to edit that much. Okay. So now let's open our Docker file for both systems. Let's start with the API. And then we're going to check so we can clean it. especially here on this part, because all of these things are on the same folder. So please make sure that you remove this part, and then you are left with job portal.cproch. You don't need that as well. It's gonna give you issues if you have that part there. And then what you can do is to put a dot there. That's the first one that you need to clean. You need to do the same thing for in the work directory. That should be fine. And can leave that. And then the run.net build, that's fine. In fact, you can remove that dot. Do the same thing there, and then we're going to end with .NET job.dll and save that. You're going to do the same thing there as well for your MVC. And then remove this for me. In fact, I noticed that I deleted a curly brace, not a curly brace, a double quote there. And then let's put that inside. Perfect. Save it. And then we are going to clean this one as well. There is four. So we left with MVC because the folder, the structure, it's set out perfectly for us. So we don't need all of this. Delete me that part as well. And then you're going to delete me that part as well. And then you're going to save this. That should be fine. All right. And then once you are done, we need to be able to go. So here's the trick here. You want to make sure that your application is able to run migration automatically. So please make sure that you go to your API program.cs, and then anywhere I would like you maybe put it there. Make sure that it auto migrate your database so that the people that you're sending your application, they don't have issues. So I'm going to say using. Then we're going to say let's create a variable, the scope variable. So we're going to say assign app dot services dot we create a scope service, and then we give it our round brackets there. And then inside, let's go get our database there. We're going to call this context. Then we get inside of it using the scope dot, we get our service provider. And then we want to get the application DB context. So say get required service. And then we pass in inside of angle brackets. I think we called ours app-db context. So just say app-db context. And then we close that. And then lastly, we're going to say context.db migrate. So everything boils down to that statement. So that is important that we have that, because this will help Docker to create a database table automatically when the containers starts. So now we are going to run our application. So make sure again that Docker is running. And then we need to find the terminal. Let me see, where's our terminal? I think it should find it. Some, yeah, there we go. So you say view, terminal, and then I'm gonna go all the way up and make sure that it's within PowerShell. That is important. So give it some few seconds until finish, so you know that you are in the right place when it shows you the solution. So now let's run our doc. We can say docker, then we say compose, and then we say up dash dash build. Press enter. Okay, this is gonna take some time. I'll spare you the trouble, and then I'll just cut this whole thing and then go to the end where it runs. Right, maybe I should leave it there so that you can see all the whole process. Okay, you can see that we have an issue. It didn't run. So you can see that it says that the targeted job portal API failed to resolve the pin.net, and then I think it's what I'm just explaining. So let's go to the job portal API, the Dockerfile. Yeah, that's the part. I don't know why did I forget to do that. And save. Try to remove that dot. Save. Let me see if I still have anything that leads to that. There was the one thing that I was doing there to clean it. I was supposed to have removed all of that. Save it. Go back again. I'm gonna get my command. Press enter. Let's wait. I will wait for it. Okay, let's check Docker. Go to containers. Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that everything is done because the last time that I did this, you can see there, it kept on throwing a lot of text. Okay, so it seems like it's done. So to run this in Docker, so you're going to change, you click the drop down, let's check the profile. Okay, let me go back there. I hope this is the right thing. Should be showing Docker file there. Should be showing Docker file. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to click Docker there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. To be honest, I'm not sure if this thing is done or what. As I hope I'm not exposing things that I'm not supposed to. I have no idea what I'm doing now. I'm just clicking things. Okay, let me go to a browser and try something. Localhost. Let's choose 5001. I will just press. I remember while I was testing this. Doesn't want to work. It allowed me to, unless if I'm not done. Recoveries committed, information missing, no use action is required. Parallel read to shut down. Okay, guys, this is where like I don't even know what's happening. I'm gonna do it again. Oh, I needed to do that. See, this is what I said, like, hey, dog, I don't like this thing. If you guys find good resources that because that's for me, I have no idea on how to run this. Okay, I'm gonna stop this and then check the port that I need to use for, let me see, it started API, so everything is fine there. I think I'm gonna edit this thing out because that's a key there. Not sure what is it doing this thing. Okay, I'll just edit out the last part and then that's not a problem. Let me get my YAML file. Oh, it's still running. Okay, So I think I'll end it here, guys. You know the drill for those who are comfortable with Docker. So everything else is fine. The only job that you need to do now is to run it. I think this is where as far as I can go with the knowledge that I have for Docker. If you have any resource that can assist me, please put it on the chat. Whenever I have time, I'll just go through the resources and be able to see. Maybe I can learn better with this one. Again, thank you very much. See you for part 4 sometime next week.